Hi everyone, I'm Ryan. I'm back in the garage. Now let's have another look at this seat. Couple of things to begin with. Firstly, if you're new to the channel because you've just recently found some videos I put out a year ago that seem to have suddenly taken off on YouTube for reasons I can't explain, welcome. You joined me at a point whereby I am trying to build my first custom bike in a scrambler style. This is it. I spent last weekend working on the seat. Feedback I got from pretty much all of you was it's too high. I think the gap here under the seat exaggerates it the way it looks on camera. It is not a high seat. I can sit on this bike. I'm not particularly tall, I'm 5'11". I can put both feet comfortably flat on the floor. So it is not too high. But I'm going to revisit how and where it's mounted. I think that's a sensible thing to go forward with. Yeah, let me look at that. Let me see if instead of mounting up here, I can get it down there. Maybe that will look better. Because I think fundamentally, I don't disagree with you. It looks too high. And a lower seat is never a bad thing when you're trying to negate a rut or a ditch. Right, let's go back to the original seat. Okay, so I had the seat mounted about there. But the reason I had it up there is because I didn't want the gap at the front of the tank. And if I lower it down there, it leaves a gap round here that I'm not keen on. But it only leaves a gap because it's hitting all this at the front. That's rubber and that's plastic, both of which could be modified. Right, I'm going to look carefully at what's fouling on what, because I think instead of that being up there, if I put that there, that deals with a lot of the aesthetics. Still gives me this gap, but that's enough to create like a tray, maybe even create a little bit of storage, possibly even consider a lightweight battery to use the starter motor, which I didn't have in mind, but it's not impossible. Okay, I'm going to look at the clearance in here, see if I can't get that seat to sit lower but still close up this gap. Right, so I've made some improvements. This was previously mounted at that height and I was trying to sort the back out. But what I've done is I've taken it off, I've cleared a bit of the rubber here, I've cleared a bit of the front seat there, which now means this actually will go back on and it sits at that level now. And that bracket is now holding it securely. And that is much lower. So that, I think, aesthetically looks better. It's dropped the ride height by about, I don't know, 15 mil. Still got the same challenge of fixing it at the back, but I think the exaggeration has been reduced. And so I still believe I probably need to move this forward to get the fixings on it. But if I try that now, there we go, it's bending at the minute because there's no support in the middle. But from a height perspective, that is me, feet flat on the floor, both sides. I think that's improved. I think that's definitely improved. And I wouldn't have tried to do that if I hadn't have had your feedback. Right, okay. I'm just looking at this seat position and looking at where it needs support. Interestingly, the place it needs support is there. That's interesting. So the support is literally just underneath there, it's just there. And if I just take a
put that tube in there, that is almost exactly where that wants to be. Which might mean that could be welded to the frame at the front, move this forward to give me the fixings for the seat, and fix that to this upright when it's moved forward to give the support for that. This might come together, you know. I'm beginning to see a plan, and I don't think it's particularly stupid. Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Again, I'm going to pause and think about this, but I don't see why that wouldn't work. So here I am, just thinking and planning, and my intention was to just cut this off and move it back about 40mm. But if you look at that shape of the frame, it widens as you come back. So at the point whereby that side of that frame is currently attached, if we can measure from the edge to the edge, we got sort of 22.5, and if we come back about 40mm, we're about 23.5. So in fact the frame widens by about 10mm between where that is and where I was thinking I needed to reattach it. So if that's going to be possible, either I need to cut it off and make sure I retain a bit more material here so that the extra material I retain will still go on top of this ledge here, or I cut it, put it on the bench and try and open it up and see if I can just literally just widen it just by 10mm, and then it will sit back in exactly as it is. Or I remove it and build something completely from scratch, which honestly I don't think I would be able to do very easily. See, all these little simple jobs aren't little nor simple when you actually get into the detail. Okay, right. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm not going to just take it off willy-nilly. Do a bit of digging around, do a bit of thinking. Well, I thought about it, decision made. It's off. Now, what I have noticed when I look at it carefully is it actually has a little bit of shape here that goes up. So I think I can knock that a little bit flatter, which will widen it a little bit and make that fit, and hopefully I can just gain back those 10mm that I need, because to take this and to try and fit it approximately there, you can see it's shy, but I think I can overcome that. Right, I'm going to start trying to remove these ears off the side and see if I can widen that out a little bit. There we are. Now this, that had 3 spot welds holding each one of those side things on, and that now sits nicely just about there. So its exact location I need to work out and then clean up and weld in. But I've widened it, I flattened the profile at the top out a little, and that should do the job. So let's offer the seat up and see how it looks. Okay, that is where I've finished up tonight. So that seat is actually clipped in at the front, and you can possibly see the bracket up there, which is actually going underneath there. It's in here, it's bolted into this rear bridge, and the rear bridge has moved forward about 40mm. So it was originally here and it's now up there. So that is how I am now envisaging that's going to look. Now that bridge at the moment, it's sat in place, but it's not welded. So I just need to put the seat back in place, clean all this up and weld that in.
Look, thank you very much. Please do like and subscribe to this channel. I'm clearly learning. I'm a total amateur, but I'm giving it a go, and I think I'm making some slow progress. So thank you very much for your support. Stay safe, everyone. See you next week.